And your Legion is kind of like your buddy, you know, your buddy that you call upon. That's a Legion, by the way, if you have the gameplay. There you go. So, yeah.
It's bigger than the character.
I know, and you have different types of Legions you can call upon. One, it's a sword. We actually have two in this particular version. There's a sword and arrow right there. And you are the character. And really, it's about this kind of this combat that is like a kind of teamwork, right? It's like synergetic action is what we're calling it, and you have to kind of be able to execute moves. Look at Demetrius. He's, by the way, when I say Demetrius, he's the guy playing right there, and being a good cop, not jaywalking. Very good, thank you, and it matters. Oh no, why are you serious? You could, and now he's laughing right now because okay, so. Basically, you're a cop trying to figure it out. There's something called the astral plane, right? And a bunch of enemies and demons or whatever, bad guys, come out of the astral plane, and they're trying to destroy. Thank you for not jaywalking. And trying to come out and try to attack the planet. And your job is to defend the planet using these legions. And so while you're he's depositing and picking up kind of cans and stuff like that. What's interesting is when you're not fighting, there's a little bit of fun.
Rewarding good citizenry?
Yes, you are. Funny enough that you are supposed to be a good. You know, a good example, the shining example of a police officer, and that's what you're doing. Right now, Demetrius is actually hacking into a camera because the main quest is to actually find a woman named Jenna. And what that camera is actually a recording of where people were saying where Jenna was going. So he's kind of hacking into the system, see what recording was there, and then you can see where she actually was. So that's the main quest. Of course, while you're doing the main quest in this small little hub right here, there's a little area you can run around and find some more side quests. So there's main quests, there's side quests, and we're showing you a little bit of the investigation of it, right? You're trying to find this person, you need clues, you need to talk to people. So I think Demetrius is probably going to talk to a couple more people in a minute.
It's like Sherlock Holmes from the future right now. Like he's looking for clues and trying to sleuth out where she went. Yeah. Now, with respect to the combat, I mean, the fluidity here, it looks like the combat could be pretty intense. Are we going to see some of that, and what's that like?
Yeah, so before we get into the combat, because it's going to be really hectic, I'll say this. The combat is interesting because it mixes the stuff that you know about Platinum Games, really fast-paced action, very combo-based, but you're going to have to learn how to do this teamwork with your Legion. Now, for example, a standard combo would be like, you know, yourself times 5, so it's just ZR times 5, physical attacks times 5, and then summon your Legion like that. Did you just shoot him?
What happened to the good citizen that was playing?
Okay, look, it was just a stun gun knockout. They're not, I mean, look, see, everything's fine. He's there, he's breathing, he's a fanboy, it's okay. It's fine.
It's going to cost you a lot of recycling to get your rep back up.
Okay, so speaking of the rep, right, and you think I'm kidding, so the rep, when you pick up like trash and you don't jaywalk, you be a good cop, you can actually use some of those duty points and actually spend it and upgrade yourself. So there is benefit in being a good upstanding.
I like that message that you're including in the game.
Hey, it's important, you know. And look, there's even like little scores you get, and you want to make sure because you can level up your character that way too.
If I'm a bad cop, does that take me in another direction, different skill points or anything, or is it just it slows me down?
It'll probably just slow you down. I mean, being a good cop, there's a different kind of skill tree, or at least kind of growth for you being a good cop, and you can unlock certain benefits and power-ups as separate from like defeating enemies, things like that. And now I'll get to the combat later on, and I'll go into it because it gets pretty wild.
Tell me a little bit about the world that we're in right now. I'm already, from the very first second we loaded in, seeing some visual jokes, like some nods to, I guess, Lion King on Broadway and some other things
you saw
around.
that. Harmony.
Harmony is where we're at?
Harmony, I think it's like Harmony Square, Harmony Plaza, I can't remember what name we settled on. But it's like the small area that's basically like a Times Square. Large screens, a little bit of, kind of making fun of, or kind of riffing off of real world kind of elements in Times Square. But it is definitely kind of a futuristic fantasy world. I mean, it's not like right now that there's a giant whole astral plane enemies are actually attacking here, right?
I'm really looking forward to those digital crosswalks, but yeah, the aliens too kind of place it in the future. Yeah,
so here's an example of Demetrius about to run into one of those rifts, and we're going to see some of the combat here, which really I'm super stoked about because I'm a big Platinum Games kind of guy. I've played most of their games, especially like Bayonetta, 1 and 2 when they were on our platform. So I'm really into the combat and the intricacies of it. So he's jumping into the astral plane right here. So
with the combat, do they ease you into it a little bit? I know sometimes these combat systems can get complex. Is there something they do to bring players into it? That way they can feel equipped to take on these challenges.
Absolutely. They start nice and slow. First you have so first you start out with basically your X-Baton is what his weapon is holding. Right now, the X-Baton is in his, I think it's probably just in a small baton format. And you can change your X-Baton into 3 different things. So if he presses up, down on the plus control pad, he can switch between different ones. There's like a small baton, there's like a sword, and there's like a gun. Now, after you learn that, they give you your Legion. Your Legion, right? So they're switching. He's switching to gun now. Your Legion, there's two. You'll start with one Legion. Let's say Arrow, for example. He's starting with that right now. There's a certain combination of your weapon and your Legion that allows you to do certain combo attacks. So, for an example, if it's ZR times 4, wait a second, and then ZL, that may be specific for the gun and the sword type specifically. But if it's like ZR times 3, quickly press ZL, wait, press ZR, and then hold ZL, that could be something, a different mix between your weapon and your Legion, and you have to unlock all those in a skill tree. But they start you off slow, but it gets really, really deep.
You're gonna have to sit with me when I play and be like,
it's so good.
You gotta press the Z 3 times, Rachel. That's what you're screwing up.
Well,
this looks very. Am I independently controlling my Legion as well here, or am I just issuing certain commands to it?
So it's both. So in other words, your Legion will be next to you most of the time. If you're just running around with the left stick, you're just gonna be running around, right? That's the human character, your character. If you press ZR, you'll attack with your character. ZL issues your Legion to attack or move or something else. If you want to control your Legion, you saw Demetrius do this earlier, which you could tell your Legion to go around a character and actually chain and bind them. So once an enemy is bound, they can't really move, and you can deal extra damage, and they're pretty much, you could switch up your weapon, set them up for a particular combo, whatever you want. So you can hold ZL, and then you can just steer with a stick, and then you can summon and move your Legion around. It even has other applications. You can send your Legion out to an enemy in the sky, right? And then you can hold ZL, tap ZR, and you can auto jump and fly to your Legion, so you can get your body off the ground and into the air and start combos.
You actually use it as like a grappling system.
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
And then, it's
I'm seeing him switch between melee and shooting.
Yeah.
How do you empower the player to have different play styles?
It's all about the enemies. There's a wide range. We call them chimeras. They're basically the enemies. There's a wide range of chimeras to deal with. Some of them take a humanoid form. Some of them are a beast form. They all have different patterns. Like this one is a shield, right? Now, usually what you should do is focus on a sword. Demetrius has a sword right here. There was and if one of the enemies has a shield, a sword is really good at breaking down that shield. A small baton won't do that. So you have to kind of assess your situation. Where do you want to go first? And then and on the fly start to learn, oh, I really should be using the sword to break this guy's guard first, rather than, or do we want to go up into the air? Fine. Am I low on health? Fine. Then I will use my gun and my arrow. I'll go up to the air and stay back to make sure I can at least get some health. And you know what I mean? So there's different ways you can play it depending on what your combo of weapon and Legion are.
How punishing are these battles? Like, is this an extra precise execution that we're seeing here, or is this a little bit more of like a satisfying, like kind of however I attack a fight, I'm going to win?
I think it depends on what kind of gamer you are, but generally speaking, I think you can still get through most of the game just by, just basic combos. You don't have to do so much crazy.
I'm a button masher. Be real with me. Can I play this?
Absolutely. I mean, you
I
really
don't need Dark Souls like
No,
precise.
no. The appeal of the game is really to be stylish, right? I mean, if you don't have to do it, if you just want to get through the story, go through the story. You'll have plenty of opportunities to just, put it this way. If you're so buff and you just focus all your skill points on your sword, you can be unstoppable. I mean, you can if you want to do that. If you want to say, you know what, I do want to have some kind of crazy combo where I'm switching weapons and Legions in the middle of it, or I'm summoning one Legion, I'm sending the other one out at the same time, and they're both just going rock solid, you can do that as well. It's not stopping.
So it's kind of how you build yourself, whether, I can make it easier for myself, but if I'm a really skilled gamer and I want to be executing things like that,
oh, there's more. I would like to see someone try 100% the game. That's for sure. Unlock all skill points, and it's a lot to do. So, chew a little, get a little. You chew a lot, you get so much in this game. So there's plenty.
You mentioned all the style. What inspired the style? Like, I mean, I've never seen a game that kind of looks like this, especially with a second thing attached to you like that. What inspired the style of the game?
I think it's. I can't speak on behalf of the developers. I haven't spoken to them in a little bit, but I can say that I think they want to go in a bit of a different direction because a lot of the Platinum games before, yes, they're focusing on a lot of combat, but this one, the way that you can split up your ZR and ZL buttons and the fact that you have to think about two things, it's a different feeling because you start off and you're like, okay, I need to focus on maybe attacking for me. You may not be using your Legion that much, and then it'll just click like, okay, so your Legion does have some usability, right? Then it'll start to feel like you're not controlling two things at all. It'll start to feel like you're just one cohesive unit, right? One team. So I think that's the appeal, that is a different feeling of mastery and learning your team, your synthesis with your Legion that makes it really entertaining. It's not really, you can't find that in any other Platinum games. So it's also the new ideas with the new people on the team. They really got some fresh ideas and fresh blood to change and augment maybe what people will expect, and it should be surprising for most.
That's great. People are going to obviously want to check this out. I mean, I definitely want to play it. When can they check out Astral Chain?
Astral Chain comes out August 30, so it's